our next presentation is going to be with Susan Shockey and Mary Beth Motassen. Susan Shockey served as the USDA National Institute of Food, Agriculture, National Program Leader for Family Consumer Sciences. Her research focuses on financial capability, attitude, behavior, and knowledge change through education, and is published in the Journal of Financial Counseling and Planning. Her research has been recognized by the American Association of Family Consumer Sciences, and as an associate professor with Ohio State University and extension professional, Shockey held numerous leadership positions. Our second presenter is Mary Beth Motassen, and she has been a family and consumer science educator for 17 years. And 2 years ago at the OAFCS state conference, she received her national certification as a personal, family, and finance educator. Her commitment to teaching financial literacy runs deep, for she knows that many former students who reach out to her how they have been able to successfully interview for careers, balance their budgets, and invest wisely. Currently, Mary Beth is studying public policy at the John Glenn School of Public Policy at Ohio State and is applying her newfound knowledge and skills to the Senate Bill 1 committee, which is dedicated to ensuring that all Ohio students receive a semester-long course of financial literacy taught by a qualified teacher. Both Susan and Mary Beth hold that certification in family finance, and the name of their presentation is Current Affairs in Financial Education, and they're going to have you actively involved. Take it away, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Margaret. And I just wanted to recognize other people who have been working on this effort. Sandy Lawrenson, we've seen her name, Margaret Jenkins, Beth Flynn, Lisa Diebel, Mary Beth Motassen. You met Bo Engel on Saturday, who is the policy coordinator for the Office of Government Affairs through the College of Food and Ag and Environmental Sciences. And I just wanted to mention their names. There's probably more. I hope, Margaret, I didn't leave anyone out. But the reason Mary Beth and I submitted this proposal was that we really did want to engage the members of OAFCS. This event has also been participated by the OAFCS teachers in January, and so we're just trying to gather information. So it is a focus group effort, and thanks to Mary Beth for creating the slides and also creating the breakout rooms. She's just an amazing, talented person. So Mary Beth, I'll let you turn the first slide over and then we'll get started. Well, we've got a really, I got to watch my time here, but I really get inspired by the work of this group. We're really well versed in working together as family consumer sciences professionals. And I wanted to kind of give you some history, and if you could go to the next slide. So first, we're going to give you a brief overview of the timeline and give you some history. We're going to have breakout session 1. We're no strangers to working in the area of public policy. A group of us who served on the board in 2006 stepped up to the plate. And again, there's Sandy Lawrenson, and I like to call her our public policy expert. Dr. Jeanette Laster, Nancy Hudson, who is another extension educator, and myself worked on this. And I wanted to give a shout out to both Sandy and Jeanette Laster because they created a policy paper that was reviewed then by the public policy division of AAFCS and presented this to the AAFCS board, which then I just wanted to reflect on this because that's how really the certification program was developed through the personal finance. So the certified, the CFPP, Certified Personal Financial Educator that both Mary Beth and I hold was really a result of the OAFCS efforts. So not only did we get legislation passed, we got national certification, and then the results of the 2006 efforts where Nancy and I both testified to the House and Senate Education Committee, then passed. And then in 2010, personal financial literacy education was offered to the students in Ohio. The only drawback was that they didn't determine really how it would be delivered and how much was needed to be taught. So this year, thanks again to Sandy and Margaret Jenkins, we got together and formed a work group, and who I mentioned their names earlier, and we started in August of 2020. We addressed Senate Bill 342, made great strides, ran out of time before January 2021 came around. And so we were really pleased that it was reintroduced as Senate Bill 1 in 2021. Since that time, then our group has been working weekly, but we started out monthly addressing this issue. So now, Mary Beth, I'll turn it over to you and you can take slide number 4.
Absolutely. So as Susan mentioned earlier, back in 2010, that's when Ohio recognized the need for financial literacy education, and they actually made it a graduation requirement. The problem with it, though, is that they left it up to like individual school districts to decide how best to implement that financial literacy curriculum. So what we're seeing as a committee is that financial literacy can be taught in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, all the way up to a semester. And for someone like myself who has taught financial literacy or personal finance for a long time, trying to cram it down into 2 weeks, I can't even imagine. There's just so much to the overall content. And then additionally, it can be taught by a math teacher, it can be taught by a social studies teacher, a business teacher, or a family consumer sciences teacher. So what Ohio Senate bill is really trying to do, and it's been sponsored by Senator Steve Wilson and Rob McCauley, it addresses the concern of how personal finance education is taught in high school. And then the objectives are truly twofold. It's first to ensure that students will receive at least a half a credit of instruction in the study of financial literacy. So that is a semester long, and that's going to total up to 60 hours. And then secondly, it's going to require that each teacher has qualifications to make sure that they are well-founded within the foundation of financial literacy. So at this point, Kim, as we've been like doing this presentation, I've also been like creating some breakout rooms. But before we do get into the breakout rooms, if you want to, Kimberly, go to the next slide. Very good. All right, so what we're gonna do in this breakout session is that we want all of you to be able to answer this question: what type of financial topics should be included in a financial literacy course and why?
So Mary Beth, do you want to hear from breakout room number 1 first?
Yeah, sure, that sounds like a great idea.
Okay, so I was facilitating breakout number 1, and Christina Bates took notes. So Christina, you want to share our group's report?
Sure. We made a quick list of the things that we thought should be included. One was financial terminology. So understanding what gross pay, net pay, what is interest, those sort of things. So terminology was a big deal. We said financial goals / financial planning. So planning for the future, how much money do I need for this and that sort of thing. Understanding a paycheck and being able to look at your paycheck. Managing a bank account. We said understanding like needs versus wants. We also said looking at spending habits or giving best practices for spending. We talked about learning how to save. And then also there was mentioning of like budgeting, knowing how much money you need for gas and things like that.
So if Sandy wants to share what her group talked about, that would be awesome. And Sandy, you're on mute.
Sorry. Okay. In kind of a random order, we talked about using financial institutions, credit, budgeting, paychecks with taxes and withholding, decision-making, financial decision-making, vocabulary, money in our lives, using debit cards, financial choices or trade-offs, comparison shopping, and goals. I know we talked about that. I don't see it here. Oh, there we are. Values, goals, budget. I think I said credit.
Great. And so moving on to room 3, if Beth wants to give a quick report out of what your group talked about, that would be awesome.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Boy, Sandy, you guys covered a lot of ground. We're chit-chatting about all the importance of the few subjects we got into, but a spending plan, the budget was important, talking about interest and compound interest, credit, managing your checking account, cost of living independently, the OSU program, Real Money, Real World, which has true life simulations, was also discussed.
Thank you, Beth. I totally agree. I think it's perfectly fine for us to chit chat a little bit. That's what this is about. Moving on though, and going into Margaret's room. So Margaret, if you want to share some of the topics you guys talked about.
I took notes because my group jumped right in and they talked from the time you turned it on till off. Okay, so here they come. Banking, buying a car, a house, money, credit, housing, taxes, managing a checking account, understanding credit, and the credit score, basic economics, supply, demand, needs, wants, goals, earning income and income and how it fits with education and a career, personal safety, identity, identity with using the online banking. And then I think we started just naming some of the tools that are current today, like PayPal and debiting. So they went nonstop.
Sounds great. And last but certainly not least is Lisa Daivel, who was facilitating room 5.
Okay. Our group also mentioned budget. What does that mean? What does it entail? What plans and goals do you have? Credit cards, we spoke about implications, your credit score, how do you improve your credit score? Retirement and long-term planning, as well as online banking.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. So Ken is going to share with us in just a moment the next question that we have, which is question number 2. And for that question, I wanted to delve a little bit deeper as into what all of you think. What qualifications should a teacher of financial literacy be required to have? And I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words, but I think all of us have realized it's been a long day.
So should we shake it up? I'll go with breakout 1. And again, Mary Beth is helping record notes while we report. So group number 1 talked about the qualifications for teaching personal finance. And I would like to have Christina, are you still there?
I'm here.
All right, can you report our group efforts?
Sure. So our group discussed that in the past, I actually had this course through a business class in my high school. So a business professional would be qualified for this, or someone who has actually taken the course. So in order to teach the course, they first would have to take the course. We also said that this fits right in with an FCS educator because they do teach finances within that class. So, and a lot of them said that they have to have a credential to teach the financial class. So there should at least be a credential program for teaching that course, but it can definitely be taught within the Department of FCS.
We had educators from extension and classroom educators, and the extension educator, Sharon Mader, reported that family consumer sciences can do this. She taught it right out of attending college and could have taught the whole year in family consumer economics. I hope, Sharon, I reported that correctly. But so we heard family consumer sciences has the diverse background, the learning style. And Christina, anything else that you would like to say?
Some of us said that it's been actually being taught a long time. So it's kind of surprising that it's just now sort of getting to be required. But yes, this is definitely something that is necessary and something that should be credentialed, at least.
I think that's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Great. I was just going to say, so if we want to move on to the next breakout room, which again was facilitated by Sandy Lawrenson.
Sorry, I thought you meant me move on.
Sandy, do you want to share what your group talked about?
Okay, I was getting unmuted here. We stuttered a little in getting going there. There was strong feeling that family and consumer sciences was well qualified. In Ohio, however, we don't have enough family and consumer sciences teachers to take this on if it becomes a requirement. So we needed to look beyond our particular backgrounds. We talked about it would certainly be, a teacher would certainly need financial related coursework, 2 or 3 courses, and possibly have tested and passed some of the credentialing, such as the one available through OAFCS. It would be nice if it could all be under the FCS umbrella, but I'm not sure that's feasible.
Yeah, I agree, Sandy, because I feel so strongly about it. But at the same time, the realities are that we don't have enough FCS teachers as it is right now. Moving onward to room 3, that would be facilitated by Beth.
Our group also felt that credentialing was important to teach this topic. You need to have some kind of training, and it was important to keep up to date on your training because, as they were talking about, like now you Venmo or PayPal or however you pay for things. So you really wanted to keep current with the trend. It was also discussed about the financial literacy for the requirements. The teachers would have skills to understand in the schools that they were teaching in, there is a difference in the socioeconomic backgrounds and different values. So you would want to be non-biased in teaching these programs. And I thought that was really a strong, we thought that was a really strong common thread. And then it was also discussed when Richard Cordray was a treasurer, he did a lot of programming. And one of the things he did create was this toolkit for teachers to utilize to teach financial education in the schools. But everybody agreed, credentialing and continuing to keep current was important. Thanks.
Great. So because we're running a little short on time, I'm going to have Kimberly move on to the 3rd question. And the 3rd question asks, who are the influencers within your community who have the power to make a positive change regarding the financial well-being for Ohio students? And so I just gave a brief diagram just to get you guys thinking. So thank you all. I really look forward to working and collaborating with you more about this particular issue.
So we need them, the most important thing, we need you to fill out the survey link that Kimberly has highlighted. It's important that we network and build coalitions as we work through this effort to make sure Senate Bill 1 passes and includes family consumer sciences in some way. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.